The chronicles of time, few gems have carried the weight of destiny, power, and sorrow quite like the Kohinoor. More than just a dazzling diamond, it is a symbol of conquest, betrayal, and the shifting sands of empire. Its brilliance has illuminated the crowns of kings and emperors, yet beneath its glow lies a tale of blood, pride, and longing. The story of the Kohinoor is not just about a stone, it is the story of civilizations, of dreams broken and rebuilt, and of the endless human thirst for power and possession. Long before the rise of empires and the march of armies, deep within the heart of India's southern lands, the earth gave birth to a marvel, the Kohinoor. In the ancient region of Golconda, where the mighty Krishna River carved its path through rich soils and rugged rocks, miners toiled in the scorching sun, unaware that they were about to unearth a stone that would shape the destiny of nations. Among the dust, sweat, and stone fragments, one worker's chisel struck something extraordinary, a crystal that caught the light like no other. What glimmered in his palm was not just a diamond, it was a spark of eternity. The year was believed to be around the 13th century, and the diamond's first home was the Kohinoor mine, one of the richest sources of gems in the medieval world. Legends soon began to weave around the stone. Some claimed it was a gift from Surya, the sun god, to illuminate the earth. Others whispered that it was a tear of Shiva crystallized from divine sorrow. Every tale spoke of awe and warning. Ancient seers said that whoever possessed the Kohinoor would rule the world, but suffer endlessly. It was a prophecy that history would fulfill time and again. In its raw form, the diamond was said to weigh over 793 carats. An uncut mountain of brilliance. The local rulers, known for their devotion and splendor, presented it as a sacred offering to their deity, believing it would bless their reign. But soon, word of its existence spread beyond temples and palaces, carried by traders, poets, and spies. The Kohinoor's glow reached the ears of conquerors who saw not divinity but power. The diamond became more than just a jewel, it became the symbol of dominion. Whoever possessed it claimed not only earthly riches but also divine favor. It was said that the stone chose its master and abandoned those unworthy of its light. Yet in truth, no ruler ever held it without cost. The Kakatiya dynasty, its first known guardians, faced invasion and downfall. With every change of hand, blood was spilled and kingdoms trembled. In the centuries that followed, the Kohinoor was passed like a secret flame, from the Kakatiya rulers to the Delhi sultans and eventually to the Mughal emperors who regarded it as the crown of their empire. But before it adorned thrones, before it gleamed in the eyes of emperors, it lay silent beneath the earth, untouched, pure, and eternal. It had seen no greed, no war, no glory. The story of the Kohinoor's birth is not just a tale of discovery, it is the beginning of a saga written by human ambition. From the depths of the Golconda mines to the heights of royal crowns, it reminds us that even the purest light, when desired too fiercely, can cast the darkest shadows. The Kohinoor's journey began in silence, but its destiny would echo through centuries, shaping the very fabric of history itself. From the moment the Kohinoor emerged from the earth, its destiny became entwined with the fate of kings. No ordinary jewel, it was seen as a divine emblem, a stone that conferred legitimacy, majesty, and celestial favor upon whoever possessed it. When it came into the hands of rulers, it was never merely worn. It was worshipped. It represented not just wealth, but the right to rule. The diamond first found itself in the royal treasury of the Kakatiya dynasty, rulers of southern India whose capital was the mighty Warangal. They safeguarded it as a sacred relic, placing it upon their temple idols and royal crowns, but the Kohinoor's brilliance could not remain hidden forever. In 1310, the armies of Alauddin Khilji, the Sultan of Delhi, stormed the Deccan, and with their victory came the diamond's first capture. It was carried northward, not just as plunder, but as proof of conquest. Thus began its long journey through the empires of Asia, its glow illuminating both glory and grief. Under the Delhi Sultanate, the Kohinoor became a jewel of envy and legend. But it was during the Mughal era that its fame reached its zenith. When Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire, acquired the gem in the early 16th century, after defeating Ibrahim Lodi at Panipat, he recorded it in his memoirs, the Baburnama, describing it as a diamond that has no equal in the world. The stone then came to symbolize the soul of the Mughal Empire, majestic, radiant, and unyielding. For the Mughals, the Kohinoor was not a mere ornament. It was the embodiment of their divine right to rule. It was passed from emperor to emperor, each one treasuring it as a legacy of victory and divine blessing. The diamond was believed to bring fortune to men who were righteous and doom to those who ruled unjustly. Emperor Shah Jahan, the builder of the Taj Mahal, had the diamond placed upon his legendary peacock throne, the most extravagant symbol of imperial grandeur ever constructed. The throne glittered with emeralds, rubies, and pearls, yet it was the Kohinoor, placed at its very center, that commanded the gaze of all who beheld it. Foreign travelers to the Mughal court wrote with awe of its brilliance, claiming that its light seemed to outshine the sun. Yet, even amidst such splendor, the prophecy whispered through time that the stone carried a curse. When the empire began to weaken, many pointed to the diamond as both its blessing and its burden. The mighty Mughal throne that once dazzled the world would soon crumble, and the Kohinoor, once the pride of emperors, would again become the prize of invaders. By the 18th century, the Mughal Empire had begun to decay, and with its decline, the Kohinoor slipped into the hands of new powers hungry for its legacy. From the palaces of Delhi to the fortresses of Persia, it would pass through turmoil, treachery, and bloodshed. Each ruler believed the gem would secure their reign, yet none could hold it without paying a price. Thus, the Kohinoor became the silent witness to the grand cycle of history, where glory and downfall dance in the same light. It reflected not only the beauty of kings, but the fragility of power itself. The mountain of light was no longer just a diamond. It was the pulse of empires beating to the rhythm of destiny. As the sun set on the Mughal Empire, a storm began to gather over the Indian subcontinent, a storm of ambition, treachery, and conquest. The Kohinoor, once the pride of emperors, would now become the prize of plunderers and the symbol of shattered dynasties. Its journey from royal treasuries to the hands of invaders marked one of the most turbulent chapters in human history, a tale drenched in blood and betrayal. The year was 1739, and from the distant lands of Persia rose a warrior whose very name struck fear, Nader Shah, the Napoleon of the East. Ruthless and brilliant, he led an army across mountains and deserts, driven by the lust for glory and gold. His gaze was fixed upon Delhi, the seat of Mughal splendor, where legend spoke of unimaginable treasures and of a diamond that shone brighter than the stars. When Nader Shah's forces swept into India, they left devastation in their wake. Delhi, once a city of poets and palaces, was reduced to ashes and despair. After looting the city, Nader Shah summoned the defeated Mughal Emperor Muhammad Shah Rangila and demanded his hidden riches. Yet the Kohinoor remained unseen, concealed within the emperor's turban. In a moment of cunning diplomacy, Nader Shah proposed an exchange of turbans, a gesture of friendship that concealed a deadly deceit. When he later unwrapped the turban, the diamond fell into his hands, dazzling with a light that seemed both divine and cursed. Stunned by its brilliance, Nader Shah whispered the words that would become immortal. Kohinoor, the mountain of light. But with its new name came new misfortune. Nader Shah's reign, though powerful, was short-lived. His conquests brought him wealth beyond measure, yet his empire soon descended into chaos. In 1747, he was assassinated by his own men while sleeping, another victim of the diamond's whispered curse. The Kohinoor, now stained with blood, passed into the hands of his successors, moving restlessly through Persia, Afghanistan, and beyond as if destiny itself refused to let any man keep it for long. From Persia, the diamond reached the Afghan ruler Ahmad Shah Durrani, founder of the Durrani Empire. It became the most prized possession of his dynasty, symbolizing Afghanistan's emerging might. But the story of betrayal was far from over. Generations later, his descendant Shah Shuja Durrani was overthrown and fled to India, carrying the Kohinoor with him as his last token of power. Seeking refuge and support, he placed his fate and the diamond in the hands of the rising Sikh ruler of Punjab, Maharaja Ranjit Singh. It was a fateful exchange. Shah Shuja surrendered the gem, believing it would one day return to him. It never did. Ranjit Singh, the Lion of Punjab, now possessed the legendary stone that had traveled across continents. Yet, as with all who held it before, triumph and tragedy were destined to follow. The Kohinoor had survived wars, murders, and empires, but the storm was not yet over. In its glitter, kings saw glory, but history saw warning. Every conquest of the Kohinoor was a conquest of fleeting light, and every betrayal it witnessed deepened its curse. By the mid-19th century, the fate of the Kohinoor was once again poised to change, and this time it would cross oceans and empires. The diamond that had journeyed through centuries of conquest and betrayal was about to become the most controversial treasure of the British Empire. It would no longer shine on the crowns of Eastern kings, but would instead become the symbol of a new kind of dominion, the rule of empire over colonies, and the triumph of power over heritage. When Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the Lion of Punjab, obtained the Kohinoor from Shah Shuja Durrani, it became the pride of his empire. To him, it was more than a jewel. It was the embodiment of Punjab's strength and unity. He wore it during court ceremonies, placing it as a divine emblem before the Guru Granth Sahib, the Sikh holy scripture. For Ranjit Singh, the stone symbolized not just wealth, but divine legitimacy, a blessing from God to his people. But even the mightiest lions must fall. After Ranjit Singh's death in 1839, internal rivalries and political manipulation tore the Sikh empire apart. British eyes, long fixed on the riches of Punjab, saw their opportunity. The British East India Company, under the pretext of protecting peace, began to interfere in Punjab's affairs, slowly tightening its grip. By 1849, after the Second Anglo-Sikh War, the once proud Sikh empire was annexed by the British. Among the spoils of war was the legendary Kohinoor. The Treaty of Lahore, signed under duress, forced the young ruler Maharaja Duleep Singh, barely 10 years old, to surrender his kingdom and the diamond to the British crown. The gem, now stripped from its homeland, was presented as a gift to Queen Victoria, though history remembers it more truthfully as a prize of conquest. The diamond was shipped to England aboard the HMS Medea, but even its voyage was marked by misfortune. Disease struck the crew, and storms battered the ship. When it finally arrived in London in 1850, it was displayed at the Great Exhibition of 1851, where thousands came to see the fabled Mountain of Light. Yet to the surprise of many, it failed to impress. Its original Indian cut reflected light softly, not in the fiery brilliance Western jewelers prized. Unwilling to let the royal trophy seem dull, Queen Victoria ordered it to be recut by British lapidaries, who reshaped it into a more radiant gem, but at a great cost. The Kohinoor lost almost half its original size, reduced from 186 carats to 105.6. The transformation symbolized much more than craftsmanship. It represented the reshaping of history itself, a colonial act that sought to redefine an Eastern legend in Western image. In time, the Kohinoor was set into the crown jewels of the United Kingdom, adorning first Queen Victoria's brooch and later the crowns of Queen Alexandra, Queen Mary, and Queen Elizabeth. Each sparkle of the gem reflected the might of the empire, yet beneath its glitter lay silence, sorrow, and the echo of centuries of conquest. Even today, the Kohinoor's place in the Tower of London remains a subject of fierce debate and deep emotion. To some, it is a treasure of beauty, to others a stolen relic of oppression. But no matter where it lies, the truth remains. The Kohinoor, once the pride of India, became the jewel of an empire built on the ashes of those who once held it dear. Today, the Kohinoor rests behind thick glass in the Tower of London under the watchful eyes of guards and tourists alike. To many who gaze upon it, it is simply a magnificent diamond, a relic of royal grandeur. Yet to millions across the world, it represents far more. It is a fragment of history, a scar of empire, and a mirror reflecting the complicated legacy of power, pride, and pain that still resonates across nations. The Kohinoor has outlived dynasties, revolutions, and continents. Its brilliance, though undiminished by time, has come to symbolize the uneasy bond between beauty and conquest. What was once the divine jewel of India, the pride of Persian emperors, and the symbol of Afghan might, now sits as part of Britain's crown jewels, an emblem of colonial triumph. But the stone's journey is not merely about possession. It is about the enduring human desire to own what cannot truly be owned, history itself. In the modern era, the Kohinoor's presence in London continues to spark international debate and moral reckoning. Nations such as India, Pakistan, Iran, and Afghanistan have all laid claim to it, each with a story woven into its luminous past. For India, it is the stolen soul of its heritage, taken not as a gift, but as a wound inflicted during colonial subjugation. For Pakistan and Afghanistan, it is a relic of their imperial glory and struggle. Each nation sees in it a reflection of their own history, of empires built, lost, and remembered. But beyond political claims lies something deeper, a moral question that transcends borders. Who truly owns history? Can beauty be possessed without guilt or power without price? The Kohinoor's legacy forces the world to confront these questions, reminding humanity that the treasures we prize most are often those that cost us our peace. Despite its silence, the diamond speaks volumes. It whispers of miners who toiled in darkness, of kings who ruled with splendor, and of empires that rose and fell in its shadow. It carries within its crystal core the reflections of countless eyes, from Mughal emperors and Persian conquerors to British monarchs and modern visitors. Each gaze adds another layer to its legend, making it not just a jewel of the past, but a living story of the present. In an age where nations seek reconciliation with their histories, the Kohinoor stands as a symbol of memory and reckoning. It reminds us that power is fleeting, that possession does not erase origin, and that every empire must one day face the truths it tried to bury. Its name, Kohinoor, the Mountain of Light, still holds its ancient irony. For though it shines brighter than any gem, its light comes not from purity, but from history itself. A history heavy with ambition, suffering, and longing. Perhaps that is why, centuries later, it continues to fascinate. The Kohinoor is no longer merely a diamond. It is a story carved in light, a story that belongs not to one nation or one crown, but to humanity as a whole. It endures as a timeless reminder that even the brightest treasures cast the longest shadows.